Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, welcome back to Friday at 4. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you, Chuck?
Fantastic. Another good week. Started a little weird,
Yeah,
but here it is Friday, and we made it through. Yeah,
that's a good thing.
yeah. Still here, still kicking.
Still here. It's still here. All in one piece. We're good. Okay.
Yeah, right. So I thought this week would be a great way to piggyback off of last week where we talked about chasing those dreams, right?
hmm
And what a great time. I kind of like to tie this to what's happening right now with Artemis, Artemis 2, right?
hmm
So I got a couple of notes here that I kind of read. So would you get on that rocket? Risk, trust, and betting big on dreams, right? And this is all inspired by the Artemis too. I thought this is pretty brilliant. Those astronauts, right? They're about to circle the moon for the first time since what, Apollo 17, I think it was.
It's a while. Yeah. It's
50,
a long while.
50 years, right? Yeah. So they're sitting on top of a rocket, right? And they're trusting, obviously some things happened
hmm
already with Microsoft, go figure. There's a couple things I have to toilet issue, but they're trusting the engineers. They've never met these systems that can fail in a mission where there is no easy exit, right? I mean, we know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a tough mission what they're doing.
Yeah, it is.
So the real question now becomes, why do some people take that risk and others stay comfortable, right? Taking risks.
That's a great question. It's a great
Yeah,
question.
it's a loaded question, right?
So I'm going to back up just a little. Um, Again, to ta tag on to what we did last week, that everybody has a dream. But before we can pursue the dream, really figure out, why is that your dream? Is it something that when you were little, something you always wanted to do? Is it something somebody said to you that you liked and you pursued it? Is it that you're following somebody else, but then you're pursuing their dream, not yours? So once you finally get to that point that you have a dream, and that's cool, and don't ever stop dreaming. But when you have that dream that you're pursuing, now you're at that rocket ship. Now you start to move forward. And we all know, we've said before, we have so many hours in a day. We have so much knowledge. We can only do so much. How do you then get whatever your dream is? How do you get it to become a reality? And that's the topic of this discussion today. So, in that pursuing your dream, there's all kinds of things that go in there. You need the right people. So, in that right people category, depending on your dream, do you need a computer genius? Do you need somebody who has money? Do you need somebody who's a math genius? Do you need somebody who's great in the vocabulary that can write a dissertation? From a people perspective, what one or more people do you absolutely have to have? Now, on that people side of it, how do you determine who, the qualifications? Because if you don't have those qualifications that you need to bring somebody in, how do you know they're the right person in a whole bunch of levels? So
Yeah,
it's just the complexity keeps adding. And then
yeah,
again, we're not saying this to deter anybody. We're saying these are things that people absolutely need to consider, or their dream may not work. And
yeah.
not because it's a bad dream, but because somebody else didn't live up to what they needed to do or your expectations. So it's that whole people side. And it just goes on and on, attorneys and computer people. And what about, on the medical side? the education side, if they need strength, if they need whatever it may be for your dream, how do you know on the people side who are they really qualified? Because you don't know. Where do you get the information to say yes or no? How do you narrow down the field from 10 to 5 to 2 to 1 that you need? Um, and that's on the people side. Then on the financial side, how do you know how much money you need? Because that's a whole thing unto itself based upon what your dream is. To go to the
Right.
moon and back is a little bit more than the average person or single business or bank or something can afford. So, how do you spread the risk so more people invest, each taking a piece, which is great. But if they take the whole piece, what's left for you?
Right.
You don't want to give away everything because it's your dream. And yes, you're tapping into a bunch of people, but it's still your dream.
Yeah.
Um, so it's the people, it's the financial side, it's a time horizon. Is something that you're going to need, going to take 6 months, a year, 10 years, 20 years? Do you have the staying power for that? Does your team have the staying power? Because somebody's going to stay with you only if they believe in your dream and they're compensated. Because
Yeah.
nobody these days that I know of is working for free.
Except Chuck.
Doesn't, except Chuck. Okay.
Except
So, Chuck,
Chuck.
I have a couple of things I need you to do. Okay.
You got it, buddy.
Bingo. We're good. Okay.
We're good.
But yeah, we're good. But these are a lot of the things that have to really. And then the next thing is, let's say you do get funding to start and you find the right people that are buying into your dream and you get started. What are your milestones? Because if you stay, I need to be into this spot at 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and you're not there, at what point do you say to all those other people and groups, we're so close. I know we're behind, but let's continue. They could say yes, they could say no. So at what point do you pull the plug? And it's never an easy decision. But these
Yeah.
are a lot of the things that happen. And I'll tell you, well, before I tell you my story, which fits into this whole scenario. You were going to say something. I didn't want to cut you off.
I was going to wait until you finished up, but just real quick, I wanted to mention that I ran into someone earlier. They were a young 21-year-old who had this fear and anxiety of following their dreams. And that's another reason why I'm glad we picked this topic today, because it just happened to fit with someone I ran into earlier.
Hmm.
And I was able to give some advice on the same advice that you keep talking about with me is don't give up, keep
Mhm.
going. And I had to actually do that as well today. This person loved art. They love to draw. They're into artistry and they want to follow their dream. And I said, continue what you're doing. That might not be your path. However, don't stop doing what you're doing. The universe will push you in the right direction of whatever it is that you should be doing. Don't fear, get started, because fear will hold everybody back from everything. Again, with the risk, right? Just like with the astronauts, right? What if they feared walking into that simulator when they want to be an astronaut to say, I can do this? But they never did it. So 30 years goes by, but they never become an astronaut because they were fear of going to start trying to become an astronaut?
It's true.
Yeah.
It takes a special person, and it really does. It takes a special person, number one, to come up with a dream that they truly love and want to pursue. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people waffle back and forth. So it takes a special person, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying bad, it's a good thing. So
Yeah.
it takes a special person to come up with your dream and then to continue to pursue through all those different stages of people and process and technology and money and all those things to even get the process off the ground.
Right. All
So
the
if
positive, negative
you're,
things that can happen, right?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're in that small special group, I congratulate you. You're way ahead of the pack. And again, don't stop. This is a good thing. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. Um, my quick story, which relates right into this, and maybe some people will relate to it. When I opened my business in 2013, I had left corporate and I had my dream, and I assembled the right people. Um, I was my bankroll, so I was my own financial person. Um, and because there was a limited amount of funds, I had to do way above and beyond, which is okay. It's my business. I get it. But when things didn't go right, I had to make that decision of, do I continue or do I stop? Because at some point you have to say stop.
Yeah.
And my business lasted a little bit over 2 years. I ran out of money. Somebody was going to lend me a very large sum of money to continue the business. But in the back of my brain, I knew the direction I was going. And I turned down the funding because my concern was, if it didn't make it, and it turned out it didn't, but if it didn't make it, how do I pay that money back? So for me, that was a concern. And it turned out that everything just went south from there. But that was my story. Could I have done things differently? Absolutely. Did I have a plan B? No. But I also did not do what I talked about a few minutes ago, is have the plan up front. Have, for each of those things that you have to do, have the contingency. So if I went to Chuck and I said, Chuck, I need 10 grand, and Chuck said no, do I have another person I can ask for 10 grand? If I need somebody with a law degree and the first person says no, do I have a second person or a third person? In my case, I did not do that because I was uneducated. So another thing, which I didn't talk about before, but I'm going to say now, ask. Don't be a solo person on an island. Ask people who have done big projects. Who did they, not necessarily that I talked to Chuck, but how many people that help restaurants, or not even restaurants, but businesses? How does Chuck help all these businesses get better? If Chuck's not available, who else is around? If I need money and bank A says no, who else do I go to? If I need an attorney and the attorney says no, who else do I go to? Think about all the people, all the process, all the technology, and have the backups, the plan A, the plan B, the plan C. One piece that goes wrong could delay the project. So rather than do that, because again, if a project is 3 months, okay, it goes 4 months, not a big deal. If a project is a 10-year plan, now it goes 15 years, you may lose a lot of those people and a lot of that funding because they're not ready for the other five. So, and again, there's no right or wrong. Every project, every person is different. And the reason we're going through this conversation today is Chuck and I want you to dream. We want you to pursue and be better. We're
Yeah.
just giving you our experiences of things to look out for to give you the greatest opportunity for success.
That's so
That's why we're
true.
having this conversation.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. I think it's a valid conversation because I can relate to this because one piece that I didn't, and you and I talked about this last Friday. I think we talked about it a little bit. One piece that I didn't account for of my Dashing Across America tour is, where am I going to stay each night when I travel to these states?
Hmm.
And I'm still struggling with that. That's why my show has been delayed, because I'm struggling trying to figure out where am I going to do
Mm.
it. How I want to pull this
Okay.
off? Where do I want to stay? How do I want to spend the night?
Right.
So I'm still working on ironing that little kink out.
Hmm.
That it's been a thorn in my side now. It's like, but I'm delayed for a reason. My life and my show has not stopped, because obviously I just
Good.
released my latest show, 31st, to my latest Chasing the Stars Tasted and Rated series. and I'm still pushing forward with this
Good.
traveling up north because the first stop obviously is going to be you in New York, you
Hmm.
know, and I'm working on how do I spend the night in each place to at
Got
least
it.
get a good night's sleep while I can be fresh the next day and not,
Mm,
you know, hinder myself
right.
the age I'm at, for trying to sleep in a car or a
Yeah.
tent or something, So we're working on that. We're working on that one last piece to this adventure. And I'm not giving up.
Good.
I'm not stopping. It will work out the way it's
Good.
supposed to work out, right?
And it will.
Yeah.
And you see, from my perspective, you're doing the right thing. Because if you said, I'll figure it out when I get there, and again, I said before, one piece of the puzzle could cause delays. And in this case, that's causing you to delay, but for a good reason.
Right.
So rather than spend time, money, effort, frustration, and all those things that come with it, have it the right way, have it set. So when you do start your journey, whatever that journey might be, that dream might be, you again have a greater chance of success for the fastest time frame, the least amount of money, the less frustration, greater end result.
Yeah.
So all the pieces are tied together. And you're Joe, I mean, you're a great example. You have had and have a big dream. And that's huge. Again, most people don't. So you're way ahead of the game. Now you started putting the pieces together, way ahead of the game. You have your plan A, your plan B, your contingency. But when you hit that one piece, you were smart enough to say, before I spend time, energy, money, and everything else, let me make sure that all the pieces of the puzzle are in place.
Yeah.
So you're smart to get that piece done because that one piece, it may not necessarily delay the work and the project you're doing, but it will take a toll on you physically,
Sure
which
will.
will impact the end result.
It sure
So
will.
why go into a project or pursue a dream where you know the end result could be impacted negatively? So
Yeah.
you're a smart guy and you're doing the right thing. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge thing, right? Because at the age I'm at, with a little bit of health concern that I have, there are two little things that
Mm,
really look at this from a different angle because, and I'm not a young buck where I can just pull on the side of the highway and kick back the seat in the
mm.
car and sleep for 6 hours and seat back up and keep rolling. And it's not going to
Right.
work for me. 20 years ago, it may
Me
have
neither.
worked. May have worked 20 years ago, but right now,
Maybe.
man, it's not going to work.
Nope.
You know,
Nope. Nope.
I got to get comfortable. I got to have
Right.
something under my back and under my neck and under my head. So
Yeah.
so yeah. And I thank you for acknowledging that I've done my homework and I
Hmm.
am, I do have these backup plans in place. That's why the show's delayed because,
Hmm.
those plans started not going the way I want them to go. So now I
Hmm.
have to take some patience till plan B or plan C comes into effect. I'm at plan B now.
Okay.
And I hope I don't have to get to plan C, but I hope
Mm.
plan B works. And we'll talk about that later about plan
Yeah.
B. But I think it's going to work. I think what I got is something good. So
Good. Good.
I'm hoping to get this thing started hopefully in May. May 1st should be
Hmm.
the green light. You
Okay.
know,
Good.
I got the green light on the car. I got the green light on me. I got the green light on the show. Now I got to get the green light on this last part of the sleep, and I'll be great.
Hmm.
So yeah, risk, right?
Oh,
I mean, that's
yeah.
that's a huge risk, right? And what we're talking about here with the show, this episode, and tying to last week, that big dream. Yes, this is a huge dream I have. I'm gonna follow that dream, but the risk that comes with this dream was
Mm.
is enough to scare anybody from stopping from doing whatever they're doing.
Right.
And that's the other side of this, right? It's the fear of even getting started.
Yes. But now we're going to go down another rabbit hole.
Uh-oh.
You could, well, fear. So you could either um, forget everything and run, but you're not.
No.
You're facing the fear, delaying it a little bit again, which is smart. but you're setting yourself up for the best possible chance of success.
Right.
And the other thing that you're doing, which a lot of people may not, is you are keeping track on the end target, the end goal of customer satisfaction. Some people may say, you know what? I don't care. It's my dream. I'm doing it anyway. I don't care about the end result. I don't care about the customers that are going to see me, buy my service or product, refer me, whatever they're going to do.
Right.
My dream, I don't care. And that may be good for you now. But what about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? Nobody's going to want to talk to you. Nobody's going to do business with you because it's the end goal, the end customer, the end client that you're really trying to do and to help and to give a
Yeah.
better experience to. And so you're doing everything the right way. You're delaying it for the bigger picture.
Yeah. And you know, like you said, right, this is 7 states that I'm going to be
Mm,
this little portion is going to be part of 7 states. What if I get 3, 4, 5 states in,
hmm
and that's where it all comes to an end because I didn't plan properly, like you said, right? I
Correct.
didn't look at it to
Correct.
make sure that all these parts are to the puzzle are correct. You know, I get third, fourth state up, you know, I get up into Vermont, New Hampshire or something, you
hmm
know, and then next thing you know, it all falls apart and I can't continue. Now you have a ruined show that's only partially completed. It
Yep.
doesn't work,
No, it doesn't work.
you know?
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that might work for content, but not for the show.
Well, it kind of all has to work together. You
Right.
can't be half successful because that
Yeah,
means you're half unsuccessful, which you don't want to
exactly.
be. You don't want to
Yeah,
be.
no,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Yeah. No, no. It's a good thing. I mean, I've been through multiple, you know, different businesses. You've been through multiple different businesses. It's a dream. But when you finally get to that point that this is the one, and it could be your first one, it's possible. But when you finally get to the point of this is the one, you go all out. You go
You know,
all out.
I think we talked about this too. You and I were kind of opposite to where your first business, your big dream, you followed your passion, kind of didn't make it because of some things. And now you're on to bigger and better things that you are successful, you're making it. I'm reverse, right? My first business was, man, it was 5 years in, very successful, but was just kicked down onto my feet because of some unfortunate things that happened with, you know, divorce and things like that.
Mm,
And we talked about that. Now I'm in my third one I'm into now. I don't really count the app anymore, but the third business I'm into now, it's a struggle because I know what I did the first one, which is it's not the same, it's kind of different business, but this business I'm in now, it's a struggle. The struggle is real. So I think universe is saying, nah, you had it easy first. Now we're going to make it a little challenging for you, boy. So now you're going to struggle, you know, which I'm okay with because with struggle comes success, right? Because you have to know what the
it
struggles are
does.
to be successful, you know?
But
Yeah,
so you can argue there's a good and a bad to both of our journeys.
sure.
The bad side or the good side, depending which way you want to look at it, if you're successful the first time you try something, and I hope whoever's listening, I hope you are. But if you're successful on the first time, do you know why you were successful?
Oh,
Can you repeat it again? Are you
tried.
set up to handle the adversity that is going to come along?
Yeah.
You may not, you may be, you may not be, depends who you surround yourself with.
But you answered your questions were answered for me because the first time around I was fearless, man. I went right at it full force.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, I'm thinking more, I'm cautious, I'm
Right.
spending the time to probably too much time to make things right when I
Mm-hmm.
should be fearless and just pushing forward. But I'm more cautious because I'm older,
Yep.
wiser, and I have a different game plan set, right? So that pushing
Mhm.
forward is a little bit different than it was the first time around. That's why I'm not as successful right now as I was the first time. But I got to remind myself this is only the second year in on this business. The
Right.
last one was 5 years in, right?
Yeah.
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 How many
It is
years?
true.
Yours was 2 years, right?
Mine was
Was it 2 years?
two plus
Two plus.
before it failed.
Yeah.
Um, See, in my case, I came from corporate for a lot of years, 32 years, and it was a great experience. But in corporate, they do everything, at least in my case, they did everything for me. So
Yeah.
even though I rose pretty high, they did the marketing, they did the sales, they did the payroll, they did the operations, they did the benefits, they did.
Yeah.
So when I went out to become an entrepreneur less than a year later, I had less than zero knowledge about how to run a business. So I'm fighting. Now, my ideas were good, but there's a huge difference between an idea and the execution of the idea. Huge difference. So
Yeah.
that's why I said before, when you start something, the team you surround yourself with is so important because again,
Yeah.
so many days, so many hours in a day, so much knowledge, so much things you can do. Do what you do best and bring in for the rest. You
You
have
know,
to.
first time around it was fear that turned into no fear.
Hmm.
This time it's not fear, it's I'm cautious.
Hmm.
Maybe a little too cautious, but I like it because it's making me really get my processes in order
Hmm.
and have a game plan set so I can replicate this as I go forward. It'll be easier to manage, right?
Yeah,
And that's what I think
that's
I've learned is,
yeah.
I'm not fearing what I'm doing. I'm cautious now because of my age, my health, and what I have working on. I need these things in place. Back then, I didn't have to worry about it. I was boom, boom, boom. I would hit the ground running,
Yeah,
no fear,
yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
moving
It,
forward, yeah.
yeah,
So,
cautious again could be good and bad.
mhm,
If you're young, if you're single, don't have a lot of expenses, maybe you can take more chances because you don't have as much to lose.
yeah,
But as you get a little bit older, and let's just say you do have a house. Let's just say you have a significant other. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have a higher level of expenses and people depending on you.
mhm,
So if you do get to that point that you just say, you know what, forget it, screw it, go for it. The downside, if it doesn't work, is much larger than if you're by yourself. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do this.
yeah,
All I'm saying is think about it. And as we said, have a plan B, have a plan C, just like you're
yeah,
doing. You're
yeah,
being cautious, but that's a smart thing because,
yeah,
again, limited time, energy, money, physical, whatever
yeah.
the constraints are, be realistic.
You got it.
And what if? Yes, you could say, what if it works? And that's what you should be saying is, what if it works? But filter in a little bit of, let me make sure I have the best chance of success.
Yeah,
And again, we want you to be successful. Again, I've said that before and I'm saying it again. We want you to be successful, which is
yeah,
saying this stuff to make you more aware of questions to ask, things to look for than you might have or not have thought of before because of a lack
yeah,
of experience. That's
yeah.
why we're trying to tell you this.
And that's important, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
516-727-2294, not 5156. That's okay, Steve.
Did
Caught you a
I?
little error there.
Oh, okay. Thank you for catching that. So I can't type. What can I tell you? Um,
So it's
and
516-727-2294. That's to reach Steve. If you got any kind of financial questions, you want to run anything by him from the show about risk and fear and all that good stuff about following your dreams. We've been there. We know what it's
Mhm.
like. So reach out to him. He's got the
Yeah.
knowledge.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah.
And Chuck is, and this is a real phone number, 410-935-6132. And if you have a business that you would like an independent person to come in, take a look at it and give you feedback based on numbers and facts, not I think you should do this or that. Chuck's your guy. He's got experience. He's helped several, I shouldn't say seven, many, not even several, many businesses turn things around based on suggestions. And he's honest, he's upfront, no punches, no secret agendas. Yeah, give him a call. See how we can help you.
And it starts with the Star Performance Index. I think that document alone will help any business who cares about their reviews, customer service, and the customer experience. That one document alone can really help any business. It's powerful.
Mhm.
It really is. So,
Yeah.
Steve, thanks again for coming on. Thanks for the real positive talk about me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You can pay me off later. No, only kidding. Only kidding.
You
Now,
played it up a little bit, right?
well, again, for those people who are out here who have never seen this, or just as a reminder, we don't get paid for this. This is our experiences. And Chuck and I have known each other for, I don't know, give or take 2 years, give or take.
Yeah,
And we have a friendship outside of this show. And yes, we go back and forth, we kid each other, but we also are each other's best support system. We run
yeah,
things by before we do something. It's that independent perspective, because the same way we want to help each other succeed is what we want to help you succeed. That's why
yeah,
we do this. And yes, we kid around once in a while, but it's out of a friendship and it's out of really helping each other. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate, that I actually interviewed you on my podcast. That's how we
Mm.
met.
Yeah.
And I appreciate our friendship has grown to what it is today in our 83rd,
Mhm.
84th episode of this
Wow.
podcast.
Yep.
And it's been a pleasure. And I'm really, I'm glad we do this. I'm glad we
Yeah,
like
me
to
too.
help people and help each other, So yeah.
Me too.
So yeah, so
Good
let's
stuff.
let's end this up here. And it's this Friday for podcast because
It's 4 o'clock somewhere.
like somewhere, yeah, man.
Love it.
Absolutely. Steve, what a great episode. I'm glad we got to tie it to the last
Yep.
episode of chasing your dreams and how the risk, and
Hmm.
hope all the shuttle folks are up there going to be safe. It's a successful mission. They
Yep.
get to do what
Yep.
they had planned to do and they get back safely. And
Correct.
everybody watching, have a great Friday, have a great weekend. I
Yep.
know it's
Yep.
Easter weekend.
Yep.
Everybody have a great, safe weekend.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Steve, we'll talk soon, man.
You got it. Thanks, Chuck. Take care,
Take
everyone.
care. Yeah, take care, everybody. See you,
You
Steve.
got it. Bye-bye. Take care, Chuck.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.